In this video, you'll learn how to pick the paint color for the interior of your house, including if you should use the same color for the entire house, when you should actually paint, what are some of the top colors for 2019. That's starting right now.
Welcome to Home Buyers School, brought to you by Brookfield Residential.
Hi everyone, I'm Carl. Welcome to another Home Buyers School video, a channel where you get the latest strategies, tactics, and tips from experts to help you with your home buying journey. Now remember, if this is your first time on this channel and you want to get the latest strategies from the experts, hit the subscription button below, hit the little notification bell so you don't miss anything. So today I'm joined by Mackenzie Schur, interior designer with Brookfield Residential, and the topic we're going to talk about today is how to pick a color for the interior of your house when painting. So, Mackenzie, I guess the first question is, because I have no clue in terms of the kind of colors you should paint inside your house. Should it all be one color?
There are a couple ways to go about it. We generally encourage most of the home to be in one color, just so that, for continuity, a lot of the home designs right now are an open concept, and so it doesn't give you really logical places to stop and start a color.
Okay.
Having said that, if you want to change colors of bedrooms, bathrooms, I think that's an easy place to transition. The smaller the home, typically the fewer colors I would suggest. So to keep the flow throughout the space, I would probably steer towards something similar instead of chopping it up. But in general, separate rooms you can switch, and then if you want to do a feature wall here and there intentionally, some people still choose to do that as well.
Does it matter in terms of, like, if a room has a lot of windows versus not a lot of windows, the type of color? Because I would imagine you probably want a brighter color in those rooms?
It just depends on how much color you really want to see on the wall. So obviously whatever color you choose in a bright space like that is going to read lighter. In general, any color we choose is going to read a shade or two lighter on the wall, just once you have light reflecting in the space and the natural light coming in. So that's something to consider as well.
Is there a kind of a neutral paint that you should be, that if you don't really want your house to really be, bright, neon, whatever, right?
Yeah. I generally lean towards something a little bit more neutral, only because repainting, although it's not an expensive process, it's a very time intensive process, especially with the open concept homes. Finding something neutral really depends on the rest of the finishes. So, for example, we have two neutrals here, but they're very different. One is cool and one is warm in terms of the undertones. So making sure you're coordinating your paint with the rest of your finishes is really important.
I know we talked about earlier about, countertops, bathrooms, or kitchen. You can see those videos here, and I'll leave it in the description below. But how does that play into the type of paint you choose? Like how you've set up your countertops, or vice versa, I guess.
In general, you'll find that a well sort of designed home has either a warm or a cool thread running through it. So tying those together, you're not very often going to see the paint right on the countertop like this, but it's important to make sure that everything works together. This is a warmer undertone with a warmer quartz. This is a cooler undertone with a cooler quartz. And if they're mixed matched, you would really notice that one really looks off. Anytime you go opposite ends of the color wheel, for example, red and green, those two colors are going to make each other look even more different. So if you're going to go with a warm and a cool next to each other, just know that they are going to make each other look warmer and cooler. So trying to tie in the undertones is an important piece of the puzzle. We also find that in North America specifically, and especially in Calgary, our light tends to be more blue, the exterior light, so the natural light. So going with something a shade or two warmer is going to prevent your house from having that kind of blue undertone, especially in the winter when the light's reflecting off of the snow. It's just something to consider, versus if you're living in Southern California.
What would, in terms of interior paint, be? Would that be more contrast or more, I guess, analogous?
Yeah, I think you just want to go more complementary. You want to go sort of on the same spectrum. Unless you want a lot of drama, you can definitely play with paint. We tend to choose it sort of last in the selections process because there are so many options. So you can really do whatever you want with it. But I find that keeping that general undertone, the thread of that through your home is important. You'll also find that a more grayed out color, so sort of on this half of the color palette versus a pure color, is going to give you more flexibility. So the gray just provides more depth. It provides more flexibility with the rest of your finishes too.
Although what you do find is that, you know, when you're trying to visit some homes, it kind of starts looking the same, right?
Yeah.
It's just a lot of grayish type, right, colors. Because I know people don't really want to go beyond, but sometimes it's kind of neat to be a little bit different too, right?
And you can do that with level of color too. You can stay in the gray palette, but maybe you go with charcoal instead of going red or green, right? So you can add contrast without adding new color, and that will help keep everything cohesive.
And how about for resale? Like if you wanted to for resale, what would be a better color type? Would be the grayish would probably be better?
Neutral. I think neutral and something that really works with the rest of the palette, because you don't want that to stand out.
Yes.
If the paint stands out, then it's just one more thing one more piece of the puzzle that maybe just doesn't feel quite right.
Okay. And so what are some of the color trends for, I guess, 2019, 2020? Is it kind of still that grayish look or a little bit different?
What I've noticed when working with homeowners is we're trending back from those cool grays into a little bit more of a warmer color palette. We're sort of steering away from the very blue-gray, and things are just warming up a little bit, and that's just a reflection of where we were, and you know, people just want something different. Yeah. So, and it also speaks to trends in cabinets and flooring as well.
And so when you say warmer, I always think of getting reddish. I don't think that's probably, is that what you're mentioning, what you're referring to? It's not going to be like on this side.
But like this warmer, it's pearly white, this would be a yellow or a red undertone. This one in particular, probably more of a yellow. That's the base of the paint itself, whereas this one's, the base is more of a blue.
Sometimes paint kind of dulls over time. Like how often do you need to repaint your house to get that fresh kind of look?
Mostly it's just wear and tear. Like the paint surface itself shouldn't disintegrate or, you know, get less a lesser quality. It's more about touching up any nicks or dents. Baseboards, that's an important spot to do that. Also the paint sheen that you use is important. So going with something that is more of a semi-gloss or a little bit more scrubbable on a baseboard will prevent you from having to repaint quite as quickly. And then going with something like an eggshell or a satin on the wall kind of gives you that happy medium.
And if you were to have different colors in different rooms, do they need to be specifically complementary for resale, or is it more of like kind of your style?
I think it's personal preference. The one thing to consider, especially with kids' rooms or really bright colors, if you're going into this sort of more pure color realm, you know, doing a bright pink in a bedroom, those colors tend to reflect very easily. So, you know, looking down a corridor, if you have a pink room and a blue room, you will sort of see those colors reverberate into the hallway. So it's just something to consider. Often we encourage people to go with more of a gray hued version of that, and it will just not be quite as drastic a difference.
And that also matches in terms of, I know we talk about countertops, but does that also match in terms of your flooring as well, right? I'd
say flooring and wall color are the two that probably have to coordinate the most, and then cabinet color will play into that as well. Your countertop doesn't typically butt up enough with the paint for it to be a huge issue, but just as a, you know, something to consider, because usually the countertop is reflective of the cabinets and the floors.
Do you have anything else to add in terms of picking paint colors for the interior of your house?
I think when you're given the opportunity, if you can do a test swatch on the wall, it's really helpful. If you don't have that opportunity, looking at a paint on the plane that you're going to see it, so holding it up flat as opposed to always looking at it down like this is going to give you a more realistic version of what that paint does in different lights. It's also a really nice tool if you can pin it up or do a test swatch in your home and watch it throughout the day, maybe over a couple days. You'll see how that color transforms. It's going to change, but as long as it coordinates each time, then you've got a good pick.
Perfect. Yeah. So the question of the day I have for you is, when was the last time you painted the interior of your house, and what color did you use and why? Let us know in the comments section below. If you want to know more about the interior design of your home, check out these playlists here, and I'll catch you in our next video.